Alright, I know what you're thinking. Another Jaws ripoff killer animal movie? I mean, I already did The Great Alligator, now I'm doing some movie called Crocodile? I couldn't even pick a different type of animal? The hell's so special about this one? That's right. This isn't just any Jaws ripoff, it's a Sempote Sans Jaws ripoff. Here's hoping we get an Ultraman cameo. Crocodile, not to be confused with the Tobe Hooper movie of the same name, or about a million other killer croc movies, is a 1979 nature run amok film directed by Thai filmmaker Sempote Sans. Well, kinda. Yeah, like a lot of Sans movies, this one has a pretty sketchy production and release history, which I'll get into later. But let's just say Sans calling himself the director of this movie is about as accurate as saying he owns the rights to the Ultraman franchise. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a Sempote Sans video without some kind of controversy. But at least here he didn't try saying he owned the rights to the Jaws franchise. Crocodile, brought to you by Cobra Media. Good movies are a disease, now meet the cure. And as long as I'm referencing other movies... did I put in a Friday the 13th ripoff by mistake? You can tell this movie's serious because it opens with some ominous narration.
From the very beginning, man has been trying to destroy nature.
Also from the very beginning, Sempote Sans has been trying to say that he owns the rights to Ultraman. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. Funny I should mention Ultraman, since the movie begins like a kaiju movie with a massive hurricane destroying some poor Asian village. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Godzilla showed up. I mean, if he did, that would probably double the views on this video. Alright, as tempting as it is to make fun of the effects here, this is actually the most impressive Sempote Sans movie I've seen so far, both in terms of production value and picture quality. After so many bootlegs, it's weird watching one of his movies in HD. So after that destruction-filled opening, guess where the movie goes from here? That's right, it goes straight to Funky Town. Oh, and about that hurricane at the beginning.
Quite a hurricane. Practically destroyed the island.
Do you think there's any truth to it having been caused by that atomic explosion?
Atomic explosion? Shit, maybe Godzilla is gonna show up. So apparently we're dealing with a radioactive crocodile, which makes about as much sense as some of these transitions. Okay, so when we finally see the crocodile, are they gonna zoom in on somebody wearing Crocs first? Oh, never mind, there it is. I get the feeling this is gonna be one of those movies that includes real croc attacks in it. Well, maybe they'll include some of that later, but first we get to see some old lady getting munched by a missing Disneyland Jungle Cruise animatronic. Anyway, our chief Brody for the movie is a guy called Dr. Ackham who's on vacation with his family along with his friend, Dr. Strom.
Hold it.
Yeah, nice that we're seeing stuff that this guy would put on his Instagram if this were made today, but could we please get back to the crocodile? Well, apparently the croc is somewhere, but I have no idea if it's anywhere near these characters or not. Come on, we're 15 minutes in. This movie better pick up quick. Okay, now we're seeing stuff the doc would put on his OnlyFans. Tip $5 to see more. Eventually, the movie remembers that it's supposed to be ripping off Jaws and has a woman getting attacked in the water by an unseen force. Although it's a little less effective here considering we've already seen the crocodile attacking somebody. And great idea, lady. Go in and try and help her. I'm sure that'll end well.
Linda!
Damn, the croc mangled him so badly they left nothing but a clearly empty stretcher.
Dr. Strom, may we have a few words with you? Dr. Strom, do you think your wife was eaten by a shark?
Okay, come on guys, this may be a Jaws ripoff, but we're not being that obvious with it. Well, Doc, your entire family was eaten by a crocodile. The only thing left to do now is channel your inner Robert Shaw, and by that I mean start drinking heavily. Wait, now he's at a morgue? Dude, I know you're grieving, but Frankensteining a new wife together is not gonna help things. Even more people end up getting killed by the croc, although apparently it's a picky eater and really doesn't like arms. And it's not just people that are in danger. Let's see, Animals, Asian exploitation movie from the 70s. I don't know if I like where this is going. Nah, we don't see anything like that. Yet. Instead, the doc tries figuring out what killed his family, although even after hours of study, he still doesn't really know the difference between crocodiles and alligators.
I've examined those pieces of anatomy over and over. I'm convinced it was the work of a giant crocodile.
You know, you could have just looked at the title. To be sure, though, he goes to see an expert, and by an expert, I mean a guy who doesn't seem to know much.
Tell me, what is it you want to know? Well, sir, can a crocodile, can he live in the sea? That's a very interesting thought.
Well, in order for a crocodile to live in the ocean, it would have to be some kind of saltwater crocodile. And we all know those don't exist. Those totally exist. Although I'm not sure if crocodiles with bright red glowing eyes are a thing. I guess this sucker really is radioactive. Either that or it's a really advanced pool toy that went haywire. Dr. Ackham and Dr. Strom better figure out a way to stop this thing.
If you're right, how are we going to get it?
I don't know. I'll have to see if boats can go in the ocean too. And would you two get the hell out of the middle of the road? People are trying to get to work. Not only is there a monster crocodile on the rampage, but it looks like the Nothing from the Never-Ending Story is about to kill everyone too. We now meet this movie's version of Quint, a fisherman named Tanaka who owns a boat, but apparently doesn't have a shirt. Tanaka agrees to help him, but they better hurry. He's auditioning for the village people as an SS officer. Oh, and remember earlier when I was worried there was going to be some animal cruelty in this movie? Well, there is a bit of that here, and if you want to know more, just go to the movie's IMDb trivia page. We then get a scene where the crocodile attacks a seaside village, and I should point out that its size is wildly inconsistent in this movie. Sometimes it looks like a big but still realistically sized crocodile, but then other times it seems downright kaiju-sized. I'm guessing this has something to do with the atomic explosion they mentioned earlier, but did the radiation also give it the ability to shrink depending on the scene? Oh, another thing I should mention, on the back of the Blu-ray this movie's rated R, but according to IMDb it's rated G. Okay, I don't know about G, but this movie probably could have gotten away with a PG rating. After all, Jaws was rated PG.
Can you imagine the size of that beast? He destroyed an entire village as if it were a toy.
Well, to be fair, most of that previous scene was basically a crocodile destroying a toy, and about the crocodile's size.
After studying the problem, he has come to the conclusion that this creature is the result of all this atomic testing going on in our atmosphere.
Oh, so it really is Croczilla. Hopefully we get a scene where it breathes fire. Well, there's only one way to kill a giant mutant crocodile, with a giant bear trap. And if that doesn't work, they can try painting a tunnel on the side of the ocean and hope he runs into it. One thing though, which version of the croc are they gonna get here? You're gonna need a bigger trap. Meanwhile, Dr. Ackham is busy trying to figure out how to kill the crocodile by testing different flavors of Gatorade? What the hell are they doing?
It's not working. It doesn't seem to be having any effect at all.
Hang on, the Arctic Blast flavor might just be extreme enough to kill it. Whatever they're doing, I guarantee it makes more sense than the size of the crocodile in this movie, because I still have no idea how big it's supposed to be. One minute it's gigantic, and then in the next shot it looks like a regular crocodile. Look at this part. It attacks some children and one barely even fits in its mouth. Is this even supposed to be the same crocodile that ripped up that village? I haven't seen a monster randomly change size like this since Yeti Giant of the 20th century. Oh well, at least this one doesn't have any giant inflating nipples. The crocodile attacks another village, and by another village, I mean they repeat the same attack from earlier and act like it's another village. Now some of you may be thinking, okay, it's a cheap Jaws ripoff, but at least Sempote Sans made a movie without taking footage or characters from other things. Yeah, about that. Alright, exact details on this are a bit sketchy, but most of the footage here is from a 1978 Korean-Thai co-production called Crocodile Fangs that Sempote Sans helped produce, but didn't direct. Later, Sands apparently made a Thai version of the film that incorporated footage from some of his previous movies and listed himself as director. Then the movie got into the hands of American producer Dick Randall, who re-edited the film again, incorporating even more new footage and dubbing it in English, with Sands again listed as the director for that version, which is the one I'm talking about for this video. So we have an American re-edit of a Thai re-edit of a Korean Jaws ripoff. There's gotta be some kind of a record for this channel. Even funnier, according to the extras on the movie's Blu-ray, the original Korean director apparently had no idea that Sands was credited as director on these alternate versions until the interviewers told him about it, and even hints that he might take legal action. Wow, Sampote Sands had a real knack for pissing people off all over the world, didn't he? Anyway, the fact that this was cobbled together from several different sources would help explain why some of the editing is so choppy, and why the crocodile keeps changing size from shot to shot. One thing's for sure, they better find whoever the mayor is and close the beaches for the summer. In the meantime, Dr. Ackham makes a breakthrough.
Seems to kill every 3 days.
Wait a minute. If he kills every 3 days, that means he's following a pattern.
Okay, I swear to God, if they end up drawing a spiral like in the giant claw, I'm gonna lose it. While they're trying to figure out the pattern, the crocodile seems to be on the prowl for some animal stock footage. As cheap as a lot of the effects are, they did apparently build a giant crocodile animatronic for this. I wonder if it ended up in a theme park somewhere in Asia. Our heroes meet with Tanaka again, and by again, I mean they dub new dialogue over his earlier scenes since they're all wearing the same clothes.
I have everything aboard that you asked for. A light machine gun, a very powerful harpoon gun, which could also be useful for exploding your drums of liquid bait, and 1 box of dynamite.
Okay, I think I know what they're gonna use for the smile you son of a bitch scene now. They set out on Tanaka's boat to find the CROC, and this is where it really goes full Jaws knockoff, since the last half hour is basically the finale of that movie, just with a crocodile instead of a shark. Well, okay, there are a few differences. Good work, fellas. You scared the croc away and are gonna be out here all day waiting for it to come back.
How about something to eat, Tony? Have a sandwich.
I made white bread on white bread. I got the recipe from some schlubby guys in Canada. Things take a weird turn when some guy randomly shows up and gets on their boat because... I don't know, the cast needs more chum for the croc?
Hi, my name's Peter. You can call me Pete, Captain. Beautiful ship, sir.
Just who the hell is this guy? What is he doing here?
Yeah, that's a great idea. You don't mind if I take a few pictures from up there, do you? Thanks.
You mean you came all the way out here just to build your photography portfolio? Go ask female tourists if you could take their picture like a regular creep. This movie is kind of like the opposite of Jaws. They show the creature a lot in the first part, and then the finale, he's suddenly nowhere to be found. Come on, hurry up and find this thing already. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
I'm so tired.
See, even the cast is starting to get bored. Oh well, while they're waiting, they could always exchange stories. Did you guys know I was on the Edmund Fitzgerald when it went down and most of the crew got eaten by beavers? Well, looks like the nothing's still there, and we finally see the crocodile again when it starts playing with some bath toys, attacking the ship. Quick, save the Wonder Bread before it's too late! Oh, and remember in Jaws when the shark lifted itself onto the back of the boat? Well, this movie tries to one-up that. Damn, the croc just did a belly flop onto the ship. That is one acrobatic crocodile. Is it also half frog or something? I was also right about Tanaka being the Quint of this movie since he promptly gets a first-class tour of the croc's digestive system. Although I feel sorry for the actor who probably had to spend hours sitting in the mouth of this crocodile puppet during filming.
I'm sorry about Tanaka. I'll write about him when we get home.
I'm gonna send his family the best damn sympathy card the world has ever seen. Alright guys, there's 10 minutes left. Let's kill this fucker once and for all. Its wildly inconsistent size is really starting to piss me off. I think they hit it there. I don't know, the editing in this movie looks like it was mauled by a crocodile.
We got him, John.
Wait, so that's it? They don't end with a big explosion? Come on, guys, you're supposed to be ripping off Jaws the movie, not Jaws the book. Of course the crocodile's not dead. And they do kill it with an explosion, although it plays out a little differently than in Jaws. Photographer guy grabs some dynamite, and instead of just trying to throw it into the croc's mouth, he gets in the water and swims right into it. Smile, you son of a sampote! By the way, in an alternate ending included on the Blu-ray, photographer guy still gets in the water, but just gets eaten by the croc, and instead Dr. Ackham kills it by throwing some dynamite into its mouth, which is what the other guy should have done. And now that the crocodile's dead, guess how the movie ends. That's right, from an explosion right into funk. Imagine if Jaws did that.
Smile, you son of a...
Well, there's the first movie I've done with Sempote San's name attached to it to actually get an official Blu-ray release. So, does this one deserve to be seen in HD? Well, the combination of a Jaws-style killer animal movie with a kaiju flick could have lent itself to some cheesy fun, but the choppy structure and editing really kills a lot of the enjoyment. On the other hand, this is probably the best Sempote San's flick I've done so far, even if he didn't really direct it. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than Space Warriors 2000 in that this kinda resembles a real movie. So there you go, grading on a Sempote San scale, this is probably the best one I've seen, so do with that info what you will. Well, that's all for now. Until next time. Killer Crocodile? Didn't I do this movie already? Oh wait, that was just Crocodile. The Sempote San's Jaws knockoff with a crocodile that could seemingly change size whenever it wanted. This one's a little different. It's an Italian-produced Jaws knockoff where the crocodile mostly stays the same size. It's no secret that after the huge success of Jaws, lots of B-movie filmmakers wanted to cash in by making movies about big killer animals going on a rampage. But while most of those movies were made in the late 70s and early 80s, the movie I'm going to talk about today was a little late to the party, getting released in 1989. Killer Crocodile comes to us from producer-director Fabrizio De Angelis, a guy who's no stranger to cash-ins, having also made the Rambo knockoff Thunder Warrior series, the Missing in Action knockoff Cobra Mission films, and the Terminator knockoff Psy Warrior. Oh, and he also produced several films for Lucio Fulci. So sure, why not make a Jaws-style movie about a big-ass crocodile eating people? Who cares if it was 2 years after Jaws the Revenge killed the franchise? I've done plenty of Jaws knockoffs on this show, but this is the first one to actually get a sequel, so hopefully that means it's one of the better ones? Maybe? You can tell this movie's Italian because the production logo borrowed its background from Star Crash. Seriously, I think that is the same background. Anyway, it's a giant killer animal flick, so is this gonna go the Jaws route and not show the monster for most of the movie? Okay, guess not. As you may expect, being Italian, this movie is dubbed, and I'm not just talking about the characters' lines.
Come on, Lauren, just sit down and listen.
Wow, the dubbing on that guitar is even more obvious than the voices. Oh, he must have taken lessons on how to play from YK Kim. And if you need even more proof this movie's European, this chick's armpit thicket is a dead giveaway. Even if we've already seen the monster, this still has a very Jaws-type opening, with the girl going for a swim and immediately getting chomped by the croc, which is a real shame. I was hoping Acoustic Guitar Guy was gonna get munched. Normally in a monster flick, they just have one opening kill before the credits, but this one actually has two.
Ain't even tadpole.
See, the crocodile just jump scared the opening title at us. And I know I keep mentioning Jaws, but... So Such a shameless knockoff of the Rocky theme. Weirdly enough, the music here was done by Riz Ortolani, who also made the theme to Cannibal Holocaust, which is fitting since this could also be the opening to an Italian Amazon cannibal movie. So our main characters are a group of ecologists doing research in the middle of the jungle.
Our work here is important. Someone's polluting these swamps, and it's our job to find out who.
I'll bet it's the local native tribe. They'll do anything to increase their profits.
Mother Nature didn't do this. This is waste from a chemical plant.
There isn't any chemical plant on this island. I should know. I've been living here all my life.
That's right, the island of... where are they exactly? Yeah, this is one of those movies where the characters never really say where they are, but it was filmed in the Dominican Republic, so let's just say that's where they are. Because this is an 80s movie, it figures that toxic waste is responsible for the big crocodile. But this isn't just any old toxic waste.
What's wrong? It's radioactive!
Oh, really? What gave it away?
This isn't your typical industrial waste. It's more like leftovers from Hiroshima.
Great, so they just made Croczilla. Too bad this movie isn't Japanese, then the crocodile might also have a death ray.
We're not equipped to take on radioactive waste. I say we stay here tonight.
Good idea. Camp near the leaking radioactive waste. My sperm count was too high anyway. And speaking of which...
Hey, guys. If you come inside the tent, we can do a photo essay for Hustler magazine.
Women have always told me I have the charisma of Larry Flint. One of the girls goes looking for her dog after it wanders away. And even if the crocodile wasn't around, this is still an 80s Italian movie. You're really asking for trouble bringing an animal along.
Candy!
Also, don't name it something delicious. Well, looks like Candy's croc food, and you're about to join her if you're not careful. See? What'd I tell you?
Where's Conchita?
Has anybody seen Candy?
Well, it's been a few hours. They're probably busy making their way through the croc's small intestine by now.
Conchita, where are you?
Don't worry, she'll turn up.
She'll be fine. Let's just leave her in the middle of the jungle.
Kevin,
Yeah,
what about Conchita?
we've done all we can.
You didn't do anything. You called her name a few times and then left. Well, hopefully some of the locals can help them find her, and oh hey, look, they are in the Dominican. They go to see a local judge, aka the palest man in the Dominican. Actually, I'm not sure if Judge is his title or if his name is Judge. The movie's never really clear about that. Regardless, he doesn't want to help him.
And who knows if your friend is still alive?
Well, if she is, it's no thanks to you.
You're the ones who left her in the jungle!
It takes a special breed to make it in there. You guys look a little soft.
Yeah, says the guy who looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy if he was a drug lord. They also suspect the judge is getting paid off by the people dumping the radioactive waste. Ah, come on. Does this guy look crooked to you?
If you want this place crawling with reporters in no time flat, then go ahead. Arrest us.
I'm not scared of anybody, and I don't like blackmail.
In fact, I don't like black anything. I want everything as pale as possible. My clothes, my hair, my skin, everything, damn it. Oh, and spoiler alert, he's totally getting paid off by the people dumping the waste.
But now those ecology people are here, and they suspect me.
You just keep helping us if you don't want me to reveal who you really are. Huh?
He's Van Johnson. We already saw his name in the opening credits. Look, even respected actors need a quick paycheck every now and then. It's no big deal. Alright, I know I keep making Jaws comparisons, but considering this is about a group of people going down a river and getting menaced by a killer reptile, it kinda seems like Anaconda ripped this movie off. I'm just waiting for John Voight with a cheesy accent to show up. Sadly, that doesn't happen, but they do find Conchita, and it looks like the crocodile spit her up like the snake did to Voight and Anaconda. Going back to the Jaws comparisons, this movie's version of Quint is a local hunter named Joe. Just Joe.
Joe, hear what happened to the girl. What do you think it was? I don't know yet.
I'm leaning towards a killer caiman or possibly a gharial. Well, Conchita doesn't seem that hurt. See, look, she's still breathing.
What's the verdict?
I'll have to take a closer look. But my first guess is it was an animal, like a crocodile. Or maybe a boat prop.
This was no boating accident. And Joe's got his own idea of what killed her.
I want to have a look at the girl who got killed by the crocodile.
Maybe it wasn't a crocodile.
It could have been a caiman or possibly a gharial. So what are we dealing with here, Joe?
It looks like a croc to me. And a big one. Maybe 20 feet.
20 feet, huh? Hey, how big can regular crocodiles get? Okay, looks like the radioactive waste didn't do a whole lot then. Not that it really matters how big the croc is, the characters don't even notice it when it's right there. Before they go looking for the crocodile, let's have a little character development.
You're those guys all for protecting nature. You think us hunters are just a bunch of gun-crazy rednecks who want to wipe out all animal life, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, it's not true.
Okay, guess that settles that then.
I've had enough of this. I'm going home.
Oh, the music's getting Jawsy again. That means we have to do 2 things from that movie. 1, have the monster destroy a dock, and 2, put a child in danger. Unlike in Jaws, though, the kid doesn't die. Instead, the crocodile kills this guy after he tries to help her in the dumbest way possible. Well, what did you think was gonna happen? As far as the crocodile animatronic here goes, it's definitely not up to big budget movie standards, but it's also not the worst one I've seen. And I guess it must have worked better than the mechanical shark in Jaws, because so far they're showing it a hell of a lot more. It doesn't look that real, but I do kinda like that they gave it a cartoonishly evil expression on its face. Speaking of cartoons, I've seen people try holding a croc's mouth open with a stick, but this is the first time I've seen somebody try stabbing it with one. The crocodile gets away, and more importantly, no one seems to have any idea how big it is.
They say the crocodile is around 15 meters long.
What you talk about? It was 30 meters long.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say it's big from now on. Oh, and the ecologists want to save it despite the fact that it made lunch meat out of their friend.
You don't understand. That's not an ordinary crocodile. It's probably the only one of its kind.
Nope, there's a sequel.
Maybe in these swamps 1,000,000 years ago there were thousands of them.
Wait, so is the crocodile prehistoric or a radioactive mutant? Or are they just gonna go with both for why it's big? And remind me again, what movie am I watching here?
Come on, Joe. You ain't scared of no killer crocodile.
Title drop. Damn straight he ain't scared. Joe's about to Lee Van Cleef the hell out of that croc. That is, if the ecologists don't get in his way.
I'm gonna kill that sucker.
We'll do everything we can to stop you.
Yeah, we don't care that it killed our friend. We didn't like her anyway. Okay, they do feel a little sad about her dying.
You know, I really feel guilty about Conchita's death. I feel like we're all kind of responsible for what happened to her.
Look, the important thing is that you do everything you can to protect the monster crocodile that killed her and ate her dog. It's what Conchita would have wanted.
You think the size of the crocodile has something to do with the radioactive waste?
I thought you were going with it's prehistoric.
I think it's the radioactive waste that's responsible. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Oh, and their boat's engine breaks down, so be sure to camp as close to the river's edge as possible. That way you'll be easy pickings for the crocodile when it shows back up again.
What do you think you're doing, Mark?
I'm gonna photograph the fucker.
Dude, you're just asking to die at this point.
You're crazy. Get off my case, Bob. There's no way it's gonna get me as long as I stay in the boat.
Oh, come on, man. Why don't you just say you have 2 days till retirement while you're at it? So, big surprise, the crocodile ends up dragging the boat out into the water with the guys aboard, then starts making Swiss cheese out of the hull.
Taking on water.
Hey, don't worry, you're safe as long as you're on the boat, right? Oh, great. Stuck on a sinking ship and not one scuba tank in sight. One guy swims to shore to tie the boat back up, and surprisingly, he's not the one who dies here.
Pull yourself up! Come on! Behind you!
If I don't make it, remember to save the crocodile! It's one of a kind! How the hell are they gonna get rid of this thing? That's not gonna explode if you shoot it. Oh well, I guess it worked since the croc just goes away after this. Anyway, the judge meets with the guy who's dumping the waste in the swamp named Foley and tells him about the crocodile.
It sounds like Joe's right again this time. I better call in the county boys.
Wait, county boys? Is this supposed to be taking place in the US? They showed a sign that said Santo Domingo earlier. Is there a Santo Domingo, Florida I'm not aware of? Foley doesn't want him calling the authorities because of his illegal waste dumping. And I gotta admit, I'm surprised the whole toxic waste subplot is getting this much screen time. Most movies like this would just use it as an explanation for the giant crocodile and then forget about it. Anyway, the rest of our main characters end up getting rescued by Joe, who takes him to his house in the swamp.
Watch out, there's a snake!
Don't worry. That's Pilar. She lives here.
Yeah, the snake's your wife, isn't it, Joe? I'm starting to think the ecologists are a little less enthusiastic about saving the crocodile.
You still think the crocodile should be saved?
If I get the chance, I won't hesitate to kill him.
There, that's the spirit.
Well, I'd sure like to be there.
Don't you think I could do it?
You wanted to save it until about 5 seconds ago, so probably not. Well, I'm going to sleep. Why don't you keep watch outside in case the CROC comes by and tries to steal my Amazon packages?
Girls are finally asleep.
Are those two about to bang? Meanwhile, the judge and Foley make their way through the swamp.
What's the problem, friend? You look sort of pissed off.
He's probably mad you brought him outside. This guy could get sunburnt from a full moon. The reason they're out here is because Foley has a plan for getting rid of evidence of his illegal dumping. Blow up the radioactive waste. That won't raise any suspicion. Even the judge thinks this is a bad idea.
You're not thinking of blowing up those barrels, are you?
Well, what the hell do you think we came out here for?
You'll pollute the entire swamp.
The guy's been secretly dumping radioactive waste. I don't think he cares about polluting the swamp. And we finally learn the truth about the judge.
I may be an ex-con, but I'm not a killer.
So that's his big secret? He's got a criminal record? Come on, it's the Dominican. Sammy Sosa's from there, and he did some legally questionable stuff. And he's now the same color as Judge. Needless to say, Foley doesn't take kindly to this and ditches Judge in the swamp. And we also learn something new about the crocodile. Apparently it can stand on its hind legs in the water. This is for not obeying environmental regulations, asshole. An explosion? Oh shit, hopefully nobody killed the CROC before me. Don't worry, it's still alive, which is more than I can say for the other guys.
Judge.
Okay, well, on the plus side, he looks less pale now. And as ridiculous as most of this movie's been, I think Joe's strategy for luring the CROC out might take the cake here.
I'm right here, you overgrown pollywog.
Pollywog?
Crocodiles are very sensitive. They get really mad when you insult them.
Well, they'd really hate me then. His plan for killing it's a bit more simple, though. He mainly just tries shooting the shit out of it.
Die! Die, you mother, die!
Come on, Joe. The line is, smile, you son of a bitch. However, because shooting at big animals in these types of movies doesn't usually work unless it's got something explosive in its mouth, Joe tries a different approach. He rides the crocodile while stabbing it with a spear. I see this going well.
Joe!
Okay, guess he's dead now. Well, looks like it's up to these guys to stop the crocodile. And remind me again, what is this movie called?
What do you want to do now? Kill the crocodile.
It's Killer Crocodile, dude. Actually, according to IMDb, one of the alternate titles is apparently Murder Alligator. And if it hasn't been made already, somebody should make that movie so I can review it. Our main characters search Joe's place for some weapons to kill it with, and I think you're gonna need a little more than that, pal. Also, if you want to find this thing, you're gonna have to work on your peripheral vision.
Jesus, they're eggs.
Hey, come on, guys, what about the sequel? The crocodile shows up again, and I'll admit, while the animatronic isn't the worst I've seen, it's also a little too slow to make this an action-packed finale. A lot of the time, it looks like they're getting attacked by a really angry theme park ride. Still, though, it's a hell of a lot better than some of the bathtub toy crocodiles I've seen in some of the other movies I've done on this channel. And get ready for one hell of a twist here.
This'll bring you luck, kid. Now let me see if you've got the guts to finish the job we started together.
That's right, Joe's still alive. Somehow. And he's got an idea for how to kill the crocodile.
Use the propeller, kid. Use the propeller!
Ah, throw it in the croc's mouth and then shoot the gas tank. Smart thinking. Yeah, I joke, but that's not too far off from what happens. He throws it in the crocodile's mouth, and then suddenly the movie becomes like if early Peter Jackson made a Jaws knockoff. And then it just blows up anyway. Sure, why not? Alright, so they killed the CROC, and the Quint analog actually survived this time. He's gotta be back in the sequel after all. Speaking of which, we gotta have a sequel bait ending. How funny is it that both this and the 1998 Godzilla have basically the same ending, and this is the one that actually got a sequel? I have no idea how successful this movie was, but the filmmakers apparently had enough faith to film a sequel back-to-back with it, Killer Crocodile 2, which was released a year later. Alright, most of you know what to expect with this movie. It's a low-budget, Italian-produced Jaws knockoff. But, of all the low-budget Jaws knockoffs I've done on this show, this is one of the better ones. The Crocodile's decent for this type of movie, and for the most part, it steers clear of unnecessary diversions and sticks to being about people getting chomped in the jungle. Of course, there's lots of cheesy stuff, like some obvious dubbing and questionable bits of dialogue, but these mostly just add to the B-movie enjoyment. So if you consider yourself a connoisseur of low-budget Jaws cash-ins, this one's worth a look. Well, that's all for now, and if you're wondering when I'm going to get to the sequel, probably next episode. Until next time.
Oh God, that water stinks.
Throughout history, there's been lots of movies filmed back-to-back with each other. Superman 1 and 2, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Back to the Future 2 and 3. Well, now we can add the Killer Crocodile films to that list. Yep, they're just as beloved as those other movies I mentioned. You know, in hindsight, it kind of makes sense that both Killer Crocodile flicks were made back-to-back. After all, you're already in the jungle with a big crocodile animatronic. Why not shoot enough footage for 2 movies? For this one, Fabrizio De Angelis stayed on as producer, but handed directing duties over to Gianetto De Rossi, who was responsible for the mechanical crocodile effects. So a year after the first Killer Crocodile, we got Killer Crocodile 2. Considering a lot of direct-to-video horror series from the 80s and 90s were just in-name only sequels that use the same premise, it's nice to see a sequel that actually continues on from the previous one. Speaking of which, if you missed the first one, this starts out with a handy recap. We learned that outboard motors can cause crocodiles to randomly explode, and that 80s horror flicks always need a sequel-bait ending, except this time they made sure it actually got a sequel. It is never a good sign when a movie's produced by somebody named Hack, though. In addition to the stock footage, this has basically the same opening as the first one, with a couple going down to the beach and the girl getting eaten by the crocodile while swimming. And just like the girl in the first movie, this one's also smuggling Brillo pads under her arms. Hell, they even reused the same shot of the crocodile first appearing, just flipped the other way. Well, at least this one has some new dialogue.
I told you there's no one here you can do without your bathing suit.
The trouble is, when I take off my bathing suit, I feel naked.
Yeah, and when you get bit by a crocodile, you feel like you're getting eaten.
Help!
Hang on, babe. I'll come save you right after I catch this righteous wave. Okay, guess he won't. Well, at least they're cleaning up the radioactive waste from the last movie. Don't worry about using gloves or any sort of protection there, fellas.
Did you paint the radioactivity symbol on this one too?
They told me to paint it on 12 barrels.
Oh, they're fake? Alright, never mind, I guess they don't need any then. Alright, obviously there's something fishy going on here. A reporter phones his boss about the radioactive barrels and then goes to investigate, and I gotta admit, I was already surprised the whole illegal dumping plotline took up so much of the first movie, so I'm really shocked they continued it into the sequel. Well, can't imagine there's anything shady going on here. No! That's for trying to expose our illegal mislabeling operation, asshole. We then cut to an office building in America, I think, where we meet our main character, Lisa. And if anyone needs a reminder, this was made in the late 80s.
And every decent-looking man you see at these parties is either married or a
British cigarette. Whoa, whoa, easy there, Lisa. You'll get this movie an 80s PG rating with that kind of language. Lisa's a reporter looking for a big scoop, but hasn't found anything good yet.
Oh, you want to win yourself a Pulitzer Prize now.
I really want to write something different. Be a hell of a change.
Forget different. Just make a Jaws knockoff with a crocodile and then pump out a sequel.
Your sense of humor leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh, I don't know. I think I've done pretty well for myself. I make dick jokes over old monster movies for a living. And if you needed more proof this was filmed in the late 80s, yikes. Look at that suit. Looks like Austin Powers fucked a picnic table. The plot finally gets going when Lisa gets an assignment from her boss to go to whatever country this movie's supposed to take place in.
Yeah, I sent Lisa to the Caribbean.
I didn't specify a country, so she should be gone for a while. As far as what's happening on the island, a wealthy developer is planning on constructing a new tourist spot.
I can't put off the start of construction for the tourist village one more day. I've pushed through the financing deal with the bank, giving a press conference today to announce the beginning of construction.
Thanks, Exposition Copter. Oh, and here's some more stock footage from the first one, right down to the guy's arm moving the plants out of the way. Although this does have something the first movie didn't. The crocodile attacking a boat full of kids and some nuns.
The crocodile!
Yeah, what's black and white and dead all over, bitch? Well, this is pretty horrific, although the kids on the other boats seem pretty happy for some reason. Damn, this is an even worse field trip than that time they visited Jonestown. The free Kool-Aid was not worth it. Anyway, the guy building the tourist resort is named Baxter, who holds a press conference.
Our Isabella River, once polluted by criminals with no love for their country or its people.
Well, it's pretty hard to have love for your country when you don't even know what it is. Baxter says he's cleaned up all the radioactive waste, but Lisa remains skeptical.
I don't think we've met before, Miss.
Miss Lisa Post, from the New York Chronicle.
If you work for the New York Chronicle, then why were you in Miami earlier? Anyway, tell us about that resort you're building.
It will have the effect of increasing tourism, which, as we all know, is a largely untapped source of income in this country.
And even though I still won't say what country that is, you can rest assured that I'll never close the beaches, no matter how many people are eaten by crocodiles. Lisa, of course, doesn't believe Baxter's story about cleaning up the radioactive barrels and decides to play Nancy Drew and see for herself, using the Geiger counter that she apparently keeps in her purse.
No radioactivity, nothing.
So yeah, turns out Baxter's been secretly making fake barrels to make it seem like he's cleaned up the swamp, which begs the question, why? If he's serious about making a resort there, wouldn't he want to get rid of the radioactive barrels? Why go through all the trouble of making fake ones? The movie kinda says that he can't find some of the barrels and just doesn't want to wait. But considering the potential lawsuits he'd have on his hands if any tourist got radiation poisoning, he might want to at least take an extra weekend to go find them. Regardless, Baxter's still got some goons in the swamp, which means we have more cannon fodder for the CROC. I gotta admit, this part where the guy goes wandering around the swamp at night and encounters the crocodile is probably the most atmospheric part of the movie. It almost reminds me of a tropical version of the woods from Evil Dead. Well, okay, maybe not Evil Dead, but at least Pod People. The crocodile also looks better at night, which makes me wonder why most of the scenes involving it take place during the daytime.
Have you finished being an asshole?
Hey, I was being nice a second ago.
A big crocodile! The biggest one I ever saw in my life! It's 40 feet long, maybe 50.
I mean, its size kind of varies depending on the shot, but it's big, I tell you. And it's got good timing, too.
It's the biggest crocodile with the biggest mouth. All right, I tell you like that!
Should I have put a Kool-Aid Man oh yeah over top of that? Whatever, it's fine. This part where the crocodile drags the hut into the swamp is probably the most memorable set piece of the movie, although I have to admit, there are parts where you can tell the mechanical croc is on a track here. And the track apparently didn't go all the way into the water. Lisa calls her boss and tells him she knows Baxter's lying about the radioactive barrels.
So that son of a bitch is sending people to live in a contaminated area and has that goo still hidden out there somewhere?
Again, why? That seems like it would be really bad for business. Is there a reason he's doing this? Other than he's bad, I guess? Lisa wants to go to the swamp and get proof, but he insists on sending some help.
The only one who knows the swamp well. Kevin.
Who?
Yeah, who?
Kevin Jones. You know him.
Shit.
Oh yeah, the guy from the first one. I forgot he had a name. I usually just referred to him as that guy. Lisa hires a boat to investigate the swamp, but word gets back to Baxter, who in addition to being a land developer also moonlights as a low-level Miami Vice villain. And what's up with bodyguard Billy D. Pee Wee Herman here? Is the secret word of the day Colt 45?
She was nosing around the warehouse where we keep the barrels.
She's not giving up, eh?
Well, she's gonna have to learn Baxter's not a guy to be fucked with.
Pay the fisherman off. I want him to scare her, but not to overdo it.
That's right, if you mess with Baxter's operations, he will mildly prank your ass. Of course, none of that matters if Lisa can't find proof the radioactive barrels are still in the swamp. There's gotta be some radiation out here somewhere. This is where they filmed that movie where John Wayne played Toussaint Louverture. Also, no wonder you're not finding anything. You're using a voltmeter, stupid. But I'll tell you one thing they do find in that swamp. Dead ass.
Do you mind telling me what's...
Whoa, 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 what the hell are you doing, dude? Baxter said to scare her a little. Okay, judging by that reaction, I guess it is a little. Fortunately for Lisa, the crocodile comes along before she can get assaulted by a trouser snake. Yeah, that's right, pal. You wanted some head? Well, now you just lost yours. And apparently the crocodile can levitate this time around. Bad news, Lisa. Turns out that horror movie cliche about the car not starting also applies to boats, too. Okay, if this movie pulled a Psycho and had her die halfway through, that would actually be pretty interesting. Nope, she's still alive. Meanwhile, Kevin makes his way to Caribbean Stan and checks in under his secret identity, 80s Greg Sestero. He also does some detective work regarding the crocodile, which mainly involves more flashbacks to the first movie. Gotta get this to feature length after all. Hell, even when he visits Joe, it uses more footage from the first one. Yeah, I remember Joe had a hat. Thanks, movie.
You're just in time to sample the newest batch.
I've been making my homemade Robitussin. Well, on the plus side, it looks like Joe's redecorated since the first movie. Now that they've reunited, this'll give him time to catch up.
There's another one, Joe.
It might have been a crocodile, but nowhere near as big. There just aren't any more like that one. It was the only one.
How do you know? You saw that it laid eggs, and even if you think you got all of them, I'm assuming the first crocodile didn't make those by itself.
Not if he reproduces asexually.
Don't bring that shit up!
And if there really is a crocodile, help me hunt it down.
Weren't you the guy that, once upon a time, protected animals?
Ah, come on, Joe, that was the first movie. Also, don't do a flashback to it, I remember. And despite the flashbacks, there's still some inconsistencies here.
That crocodile destroyed my life. It killed all my friends.
Well, I mean, it killed 2 of them. The rest of them were all still alive by the end. They just didn't want to be in the sequel, that's all. While Joe and Kevin go looking for the crocodile, Lisa puts her survival skills to the test by building a shelter, and she can still do her hair and makeup. Okay, not anymore. Anyway, how's that croc hunt going, fellas?
If that crocodile really exists, it's gonna be tough.
It exists, and it knows we're here.
Damn right I know you're here, and you're gonna pay for killing my dad. Maybe I'll go after yours, too. You're next on my list, Richard Crenna.
No, seriously, the guy playing Kevin really is Richard Crenna's son. I probably should have mentioned that in the last video, but I didn't realize that until now. Sure enough, the crocodile does find him, and surprisingly, Joe actually dies this time. I say surprisingly because in the first movie, he somehow managed to survive this with just a few cuts on his arm, and in this one, his death is so quick and anticlimactic, it makes me think the actor really wanted to go home to Italy and was only in the sequel as a favor to the producer.
You have to do it. You have to kill that bastard kid.
Tell my snake I love her. Ugh. Man, Kevin is so upset he can't even get the words out. Seriously, just look.
I'll kill him, Joe! I swear to God! I swear to God I'll kill him!
Okay, the dubber was a little late there. On the plus side, at least Kevin found Lisa.
Jesus, you passed right in front of me and I yelled myself hoarse. There you were, and I couldn't even attract your attention.
2 days I've been in this swamp, looking for you everywhere. And you have the nerve to be furious.
Hey, come on, we're love interests. I think? Were we love interests before? How exactly do we know each other? And even if you are supposed to be love interests, you're moving a little fast here, Lisa.
What are you doing?
You want that croc a beer bait?
Okay, I don't think trying to give the croc an erection is gonna attract it.
That thing's a monster. It can't be killed with a rifle.
Only an outboard motor can kill it. Everyone knows that. As wacky as Lisa's plan is, it still makes more sense than some of the dubbing here.
Bob! What is this?
The place is wrecked? What the hell happened around here? A tornado?
It's making my accent go mucho estereotipado. Hey, vato, pendejo. The goons report back to Baxter, and hey, now he's looking more like a Miami Vice villain.
And the girl?
She's still in the swamp.
We're both damn good at cleaning up swamps, right? Right, sir. So we know what we have to do.
Well, you're good at fake cleaning up the swamp, so are you telling them to pretend to kill her? Well, in the meantime, Kevin and Lisa can get to know each other, even though they already know each other, maybe?
Drink this. It's strong. It'll do you good.
Jesus, what is it?
It's toilet Robitussin. It'll cure your cough and get you super fucked up. And judging by how Lisa's acting, it might have some other side effects.
Don't you know that fear and near-death situations stimulate and heighten the arousal of a human being's reproductive organs?
Is that why you tried stripping for the CROC earlier? Hey, here's something the first movie didn't have. Boobs. Alright, Kevin, time to show her your killer cock. While we're on the subject of relationships, remember last episode when I joked that the snake was actually Joe's wife?
I see you met Pilar.
Pilar!
She was Joe's sweetie.
Turns out I may have been right. Alright, in the first one they killed the crocodile with an outboard motor, but Kevin's got a new plan to take care of the second one. Dynamite.
Boom!
And did somebody say Jaws comparisons?
First, we head back into town, get some more equipment. And weapons. And we gotta get a bigger boat, too.
Okay, you are making this way too easy, movie. Meanwhile, Baxter sends his goons to go take care of Kevin and Lisa, and we learn something new about the crocodile. See, he really likes playing hide and seek.
Ready or not, you're fucking chum.
Look! That's the crocodile!
Shit!
As big as a house!
Well, I don't know about that, but it is as big as a hut. The climax here doesn't really top the attack on the nuns or the CROC destroying the hut from earlier. Instead, it's just some tourists getting attacked, but there is one wacky thing that happens here. Well, it's official. This series has jumped the CROC. Oh, and remember in the first one when Joe took a ride on the CROC? Well, Kevin tries to top that here by seeing if he can go 8 seconds on the crocodile. Also, in the first one I said I was glad there wasn't any obvious bath toy effects like in some other Jaws knockoffs I've done. Yeah, I can't really say that about this one. Alright, Lisa, toss him the dynamite. Or at least the motor. Another benefit to shooting a sequel back-to-back, you can just reuse the same shot of the crocodile exploding from the first one. Well, at least here it makes a little more sense. Alright, you killed CROC Jr. and there isn't a third one, so I guess that means everything's wrapped up.
The barrels got dislodged by the explosion. They were hidden right here.
Oh yeah, right, that was a subplot, wasn't it? You know, with how much screen time it got, it's still pretty easy to forget. By the way, that's the end. So if you were expecting Baxter to get some kind of comeuppance, nope. Considering the barrels were hidden, for all I know, he could have just said, oops, didn't know about those, and went on to build his resort anyway. So how does Killer Crocodile 2 stack up to the first one? About the same, I'd say. These were filmed at the same time, so you are basically getting the same movie again, just with a few differences. There is a lot more filler in this one, not just with the flashbacks to the first movie, but also the radioactive barrel subplot, which doesn't even really resolve in a satisfying way. But some of the set pieces, like the CROC destroying the hut and attacking the boat full of school children, do help make up for that a bit. So if you like the first one, this is one of those sequels that offers up more of the same, right down to more radioactive barrels. Kind of a shame the series didn't keep going, so we could have gotten Killer Crocodile 3D or Killer Crocodile vs. Alligator. But hey, 2 films is better than most of these types of movies get. Well, it's all for now. Until next time.
No!
So far on this show, we've seen that the Italian film industry can do both jungle exploitation movies and Jaws knockoffs. So, what do you get when you mix those two things together? You get a movie that can't tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile, that's what. The Great Alligator is a 1979 Italian killer animal movie about, you guessed it, a giant alligator. And like a lot of Italian exploitation movies, it's known by several different titles, like Great Alligator River, Big Alligator River, and just Alligator. Which is a little confusing, since that's also the title of another giant alligator movie made around the same time. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm surprised it took me this long to do a killer gator movie. There's a lot more of these than you think. In fact, when it comes to movies about killer alligators, crocodiles, whatever, I'm convinced they're second only to sharks in terms of the sheer number of them that are out there. I mean, think about it. How many killer tiger movies can you name? Because I'm guessing it's a lot less than what I just showed. The movie's directed by Sergio Martino, who also made Torso as well as 2019 After the Fall of New York, a movie that, despite clearly being an attempt to cash in on Escape from New York, still managed to be pretty original and entertaining. So who knows, maybe this movie will be too. Well, is there at least some nudity? Okay, just checking. So, like a lot of these kinds of movies, it begins with some people flying over the jungle, but we also get a funky soundtrack. A lot of Italian jungle movies show people killing real animals, but that slap bass is making me think somebody's gonna try and fuck the alligator here. The movie stars former Bond girl Barbara Bach, best known for The Spy Who Loved Me, although I think she might have misunderstood when they told her the movie was gonna be like Jaws. It also stars Mel Ferrer, who was in the middle of his I only do gator and jungle movies phase. Extra points if they have the same title.
No other park has such a wealth and variety of fauna. 782 species of exotic birds alone. Elephants, crocodiles, snakes.
Okay, please tell me he's not just naming all the animals they're gonna kill on screen. Mel plays a developer named Joshua who's building a luxury resort deep in the jungles of, Actually, you know what? They never really say where this takes place, but it was filmed in Sri Lanka, so let's just assume that's where they are. Joshua's hired a photographer named Daniel to take some promotional photos. However, there's some concern that he might be exploiting the natives.
The Kuma tribe. Our settlement here hasn't disturbed them. In fact, it's giving them employment. And tourism can only improve their standard of living.
Yeah, just look at how much dynamite they can afford to buy now. Typical. Daniel just got there and he's already acting like an annoying tourist. But at least the scenery here is nice.
This is my most valuable assistant.
Welcome.
Ali Pratt.
I suppose that's a more dignified name than Agent XXX. And damn it, movie, quit making me nervous by showing animals.
Is cruelty one of the features of the tourist program? If you read the sign, maybe you'll understand. We don't want to be accused of false advertising.
Considering that says Crocodile Bridge and the movie's called The Great Alligator, I think it's a little late for that. Speaking of false advertising, Tarzan isn't in this movie either. And in case you didn't know this is a Jaws knockoff... so far this is better than Jaws the Revenge. And should people really be swimming in these waters?
As a unique extra, they're setting up a netted area over there. It's designed to keep out the crocodiles.
Okay, but what about alligators? Isn't that what this movie's supposed to be about? Uh-oh, I think those drums mean they just wandered into an Amazon cannibal movie. And those usually do not end well for foreigners. The boat gets hit by something, and damn, the Italian version of Disney's Jungle Cruise ride is hardcore. I don't know what's attacking them right now, but whatever it is, it's causing the natives to mug like crazy. Oh, never mind, it was just a tree monster from another Italian exploitation movie. False alarm. Listen, I'm glad you survived and all, but it's a little early to be holding the wrap party, isn't it? When taking pictures to promote your resort, always make sure you emphasize orgy night. However, I think Daniel might not agree with what Joshua's doing here.
What was it like before?
Before what?
Before you turned up and ruined everything with this so-called paradise.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna do the job you hired me for and accept the money you're paying me, but I am gonna bitch and act self-righteous about it the whole time. Dan's just trying to get on the native's good side so he doesn't end up with a stick up his ass. Plus, I think he might be trying to nail Barbara Bach.
Would you like to keep me company, if you have the time?
Sure. I'm curious to see your work.
You'll be disappointed.
Funny, that's also what they told Barbara at her audition. And it looks like there's lots of romance in the air this day for night. Okay, even though this isn't that kind of movie, the music and photography makes this seem like it's about to turn into a porn at any moment. Hey baby, you know the alligator isn't the only thing in this movie that's big and great. And where the hell are you two going?
There's someone over there on the water.
Looks like they're going toward the island of love.
Ah yes, the Island of Love. It's right next to Makeout Jungle. I don't know what everybody's so worried about. Looks like the alligators are all dead. Ooh, hey, this is just like that scene in From Here to Eternity. That is, if that movie was really a Jaws knockoff. And looks like Dan's got some moves of his own.
I feel like peeling off with me.
Nice one, Dan.
You always ask like that.
Sometimes I'm even more to the point.
Yeah, sometimes he just shoves a woman's face right into his crotch. And in case you didn't think this could get any sexier... I'm not sure how to tell you this, but I think the cameraman might be masturbating right now. Well, maybe a little mood music will brighten things up. Yeah, in the 70s, even native tribes had the funk. No, what are you doing? Don't go back in the water! Don't you know alligators can't resist a funky rhythm? See? What did I tell you? Rather than hide the gator's appearance to build suspense, just use some quick edits to hide the low budget. 2 people may have been killed, but it's nothing a little ass transition can't fix.
I knew it was just another hotel for the American tourists. I wish I'd gone to camp with the nuns.
You know, I got bad news for you, kid. They would have just been filming a nunsploitation movie there. Well, at least John Holmes seems to be having fun hitting on Kelly LeBrock. So while everyone's busy mangling the YMCA dance, Daniel seems to be the only one who notices 2 people have gone missing. Wait a second, this was no boating accident!
Could a crocodile do this?
Yeah, or maybe an alligator. To tell you the truth, I can't really tell the difference. Daniel tells Joshua about the torn-up canoe, and see if you can guess what happens.
They found a broken canoe in the river. It's got some strange marks on it as if...
So they found a canoe. Now listen to me carefully, Danielle. You were brought here to take pictures, and that's all.
Listen, Dan, this is a summer town. We can't afford to close the beaches. I'm the stand-in for the mayor from Jaws. And besides, just because we've already established these are crocodile-infested waters doesn't mean you can't go swimming. Fun fact, in the 70s, both men and women competed to see who could wear the shortest pants.
Come on in! Even if you shit on yourself, no one's gonna see it in here.
Okay, not gonna be swimming next to that guy. Jesus, even the alligator seems like he doesn't want to swim behind him. Meanwhile, Dan and Allie go visit the Kumas to see if they know anything about what's going on. Alright, look alive, people. This National Geographic orgy isn't gonna start itself. However, something tells me they're not wanted here.
I think he's sending us away.
Oh, really? What gave you that idea? The chief explains that they think they're being punished for having contact with the outside world by an ancient alligator god named Cruna, which is weird considering they live in a place where crocodiles live and not alligators. They also say that a man called Father Jonathan has supposedly seen Cruna and offered to take Dan and Allie to him, but they're gonna have to make their way through some pretty dense stock footage in order to get to him. Even if they're going the right way, just how the hell are they gonna know who Father Jonathan is when they find him?
I am Father Jonathan!
Oh, okay, thanks. Here's hoping Father Jonathan was worth all the effort it took to find him. This guy looks like he spent the last 30 years trapped in a game of Italian Jumanji. It's kinda like regular Jumanji, but with way more animal killing. Jonathan explains that he originally came with several other missionaries, but they were killed by something that he thinks is the river god Cruna.
He waited for us in the river, and he overturned our boats.
Was it a crocodile?
Yeah, maybe. Or it might have been an alligator. What exactly is the difference between them again? Now, at this point, you may be wondering, if they're in a part of the world that doesn't have alligators and they keep constantly mentioning crocodiles, then just why the hell is the movie called The Great Alligator? Well, they do kind of address that.
He didn't make a crocodile's head. It looks more like a gator, but alligators are foreign to the Orient.
And that's it. They never explain what an alligator is doing there. They're just like, oh, hey, look, it's a gator instead of a crocodile. Oh, that's kind of weird. Oh, well, guess it's a gator that's killing everybody. So really, when you think about it, they could have just cut that line out and changed the title to The Great Crocodile, and that actually would have made more sense. Oh well, maybe they thought The Great Alligator sounded better? One thing's for sure, they are dealing with one seriously pissed off theme park animatronic. Or bath toy, it depends on the shot. Another important thing to remember when getting attacked by a gator, swim to the edge of the water, but don't actually get out of it. So, blah blah blah, we can't close the beaches, or resort, whatever, you get the idea.
I know what a crocodile is. The thing that overturned the outboard and killed Cush was something else.
Was it an alligator?
In that river, there is something enormous, and you have to warn the tourists about the danger.
If there were something enormous out there, you're still perfectly safe on dry land.
Yeah, instead of swimming, they can just stay inside and play on this 70s gaming rig. It's got over 40K of RAM. Joshua doesn't appreciate it when Daniel tries to call for help, and since they're already mixing jungle exploitation movies and Jaws knockoffs, might as well throw a little kung fu in there too. Okay, that's enough. I just wanted you to learn not to touch my stuff without asking first. Besides, they can't leave yet. Sri Lanka's best Osmond Brothers cover band is playing tonight. While everybody's having fun, I think the natives are getting restless.
Yes, dear?
I just saw someone over there with a crocodile's head.
Don't you mean an alligator's? Fuck it, never mind. To prevent people from escaping, the Kumas disabled the resort's transportation. Wait a second, this was no helicopter accident!
There's diving gear in here. Do you know how to use it?
Yes, I do.
Remember, there are explosives in there.
Yes, I'm aware of how we're gonna kill the gator at the end, don't worry.
Why don't you go under the water?
Well, because I'm one of the most famous actors in this movie. I can't die yet. Besides, there's nothing to worry about since no one dies in this scene. Turns out the gator just likes to fuck with people. In addition to destroying the helicopter, the Kumas also cut off their only way of calling for help. Wait a second, this was no radio accident. Alright, you get the idea. Okay, even though the helicopter's been destroyed and communication's been cut off, they should still be okay as long as they don't go in the water.
You know we're in the jungle. Here we have Tarzan's raft.
Oh, you fucking idiot! You know what? As long as you're putting people on a boat, might as well cut out the middleman by covering them in meat and ringing a dinner bell while you're at it. The natives also kidnap Allie in order to sacrifice her to Kruna, but they do leave a surprise for Daniel. Oh shit, there's a poisonous snake in his room. What's he gonna do? Oh, okay, see ya. And hey, just because Allie's about to be sacrificed doesn't mean you can't still get some good shots. You still have a job to do after all. Daniel goes to rescue Allie, but how are the people on the boat doing? You know, even without the gator, I still kind of feel sorry for this little girl. No, trust me, sweetie, it'll be a great vacation. You can watch all the adults drink and try to hook up with each other while you sit alone in a corner. It'll be fun! Well, it seems like they actually filmed at night this time. Underwater, it looks like it's broad daylight. You know, maybe going out into the water was a bad idea. Help! We're being attacked by a crocodile! Actually, I think that's an alligator. Whatever! The point is we're being eaten! And I still don't think this qualifies as a boating accident. Sorry, movie. Alright, you people know the rules for abandoning ship. Women and porn stashes first.
Go on!
Oh, well, these two managed to make it out okay, so they should be safe as long as they don't go back in the water. Idiot! And my mistake, looks like it's even more dangerous on land. Quick, get back in the water! You know, considering what usually happens to people in Italian jungle movies, she actually got let off easy there. I don't know why the natives are trying to sacrifice Allie. I'm more concerned with the fact that their god seems to be a giant hairy anus. Don't worry, Allie, Dan's not gonna let you die. You never did say if you wanted to peel off with him. Dude, probably not a great idea to get in the water. Barbara Bach, you're my favorite Bond girl. Aw, you asshole, I just wanted an autograph. Meanwhile, the tourists get impatient waiting to be rescued and decide to just swim to safety, which gives the Kuma a perfect opportunity to get back at them for blasting Jimmy Buffett all night long. Just like shooting tourists in a barrel. The natives proceed to destroy the resort, and I suppose this is what Joshua gets for not giving them that raise they asked for. Sri Lankan labor unions do not fuck around. Okay, while I'm sure they took some safety precautions, Mel Ferrer still had a flaming stick fired at him. So props for being a pro there, Mel. With all this chaos going on, the Gator's gotta be feeling left out. So far, it's barely killed anybody during this climax. Yeah, that's right. You people wanted an authentic jungle experience? Well, you got one. Well, at least Dan and Ellie made it back to land.
Strange that nobody seems to be around.
I think that's because they've all been killed, Dan.
Oh my God.
Yep. Hey, when your only mode of escape is a shaggin' wagon, you gotta take what you can get. Unfortunately for them, the natives don't seem to want them to leave. Wait, I'm on your side! Didn't you hear me complaining earlier? Ravaging your culture, the beauty of nature? Oh, fuck this, I'm out of here. Well, looks like these two managed to get away. Oh great, this movie's gone from Jaws with an alligator to the Poseidon adventure with a van. Oh well, at least these nitrous oxide tanks mean they won't even care if they die. And surprise, the gator's still in this movie. At least now we have a better idea of the gator's size. It's even longer than a toy van. And didn't they mention something about explosives earlier? Hey, now we're talking. Alright, time to blow this thing up and end this movie.
Small, you son of a bitch!
Good news, you killed the gator and some of the tourists survived. Bad news, the Kuma are back and it looks like they've got a wooden stake with your butthole's name on it. The natives, however, decide to let them go after they find out they've killed the gator. Thanks to them, they now have enough meat to last them a week. And so the survivors were rescued and the authorities proceeded to wipe out the Kuma for the mass murder they just committed. The end. So that's the Great Alligator, and I think a better title would have been the Alligator. Like I said, both of the Sergio Martino movies I reviewed on this show before were actually pretty good. 2019 managed to be pretty original and entertaining despite obviously being a cash-in, and Torso was interesting for how similar it was to 80s slasher movies, so I actually went into this thinking it might be fun. But instead, it's just kinda boring a lot of the time. The movie takes a long time to get going, and while the addition of a vengeful native tribe helps keep this from being a straight-up knockoff of Jaws, the results are a lot tamer than most other Italian exploitation movies from this time. It's not as shameless as The Last Shark, but if you want a cash-in of a popular American movie that's actually entertaining, I'd go for 2019. But if there's one thing we can take away from this movie, it's that most people don't know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
You know, it occurs to me that Eve herself might have been black. Think about it.
All I know is Adam was a stupid shit.